Ms. Nolan, I have to tell you, you are such a sweet person. Even when you distort the truth, we still love you, we still respect you, and we still think you do a hell of a job as the chairwoman of the Committee on Education.
I'm not going to respond.
No, that's not a question. What I'd like to suggest to you and ask you this question. The previous commissioner, Commissioner King, came right out in public and said 70% of the kids who take these Common Core standardized tests, which are not developmentally appropriate, and that's how I define them, 70% are going to fail. Why would you possibly consent to allow a commissioner, and you know, I know the commissioner is appointed by the regents, as you say, or could be appointed by the governor, and you know, either way, that's like asking somebody, which one of the Menendez brothers do you want a room with, okay? They're both, I think, going in a direction to kill and destroy our educational system. Why would you allow a test where 70% of the students are projected to fail to evaluate the teachers after that at a 50% level? Because you can try to distort the truth, and you're still a sweetheart even though you're doing that. It's inappropriate to allow anybody to have the opportunity to do that. Why would you allow that?
Well, obviously, Mr. Speaker, though, we are not allowing that. We don't believe that we're allowing that, and we respect everyone's right to their own opinion. But I want to remind the colleagues that, first of all, the governor does not appoint the education commissioner. I want to reference the earlier question that was incorrect. And second of all, the regents, I believe, are in the middle of a search for a commissioner that will be responsive. Commissioner King had many valuable qualities. I certainly have nothing but praise for his efforts. We all try and occasionally not succeed as much as we would like, and that happens here too. And so I think what we're trying to do here is to do something that we believe will set people on the right road so that we have students who don't have to take remedial classes in college, all students will move forward, all students in all schools will move forward in a positive way, and that's what we're hoping to do. And I appreciate the gentleman's kind word, and it's getting a little late, so I appreciate it, but that's the best answer that I can give, is that we honestly believe we're pushing something forward that's not perfect, but is an attempt to resolve these complex questions.
Okay. You mentioned, and you're right, I came up to your office and we discussed it a little bit about my bill, and you said you're working on a bill. And what you suggested is that your bill would be helpful in notifying parents that they have the right to refuse. And I think there's something in the bill about not forcing kids to sit and stare in the bill. But what I didn't hear you say, I don't know if you're getting to read the letters that school districts are being sent from SED. They are being threatened. Parents are being threatened that their kids are going to be taken out of regular classrooms and put into special education classrooms, and they're going to have to work their way out of those special education classrooms if they do not take this test. Teachers are being threatened. They're being told by superintendents and principals, and believe me, I don't blame the schools or the superintendent and principals because it's coming down from SED, that if your kids don't take this test and kids that are low scoring take this test, that's going to impact your evaluation as a teacher. And thirdly, even though you said it, SED, and you know this, is threatening superintendent and schools that they are going to lose state aid if they go below the 95%. In our bill, we not only notify parents of their right to refuse, total transparency, we protect kids from any penalties, we protect educators from any penalties, and we protect the school districts from losing school aid or being put on failure lists. Why doesn't your bill do that?
Mr. Speaker, my colleagues, we have before us Assembly Bill 3006, the B print. It's a budget bill enacting into law major components of legislation necessary to implement the state education, labor, housing, family assistance budget for 2015-2016. And though I appreciate the gentleman's comments on other bills, they're not before us at this time. This bill has in it a study, for example, on testing, many other issues we've discussed. It's a budget language bill, and so I really can't comment on the other bills that are not before us at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Nolan. And we still think you're a sweet person and doing a pretty good job anyway. So that's all the questions I have for Ms. Nolan.
We'll see Mr. Tedisco at the pilot's dinner and have that that conversation again, I'm
have
sure.
a
Thank
discussion
you.
on that. And I don't blame her for not wanting to answer that question because I understand the direction that the majority has gone in terms of protecting kids' education and our educators. If this Common Core process, and I want everybody to know that the minority is not against heightened standards or curriculum. What we're against is the overutilization of standardized tests that are not developmentally appropriate. That's what we're opposed to. And let me tell you what an indictment is on that fact. I don't know if any of you have gotten calls or sent a flyer. In my district, and I don't blame my schools for doing this, they are actually sending home memos to the parents. And the memo is from the guidance counselor saying how to counsel your children to relieve the stress and anxiety from the Common Core test they will be taking. That is an indictment. In 10 years of teaching, as an adult, as a student, have any of you ever heard of a school having to have its counselors send home to its parents a memo on how to counsel your kids to deal with the stress and anxiety of a test? You know something is awry. You know something is awry when Republicans, Democrats, conservative, liberals, moderates all say, as Ms. Nolan has said, we've gone too far. We've gone over the cliff. Please, stop this test-a-thon process. Stop this madness and think of your kids and your constituents. This is wrong-headed. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.